everyone! You didn't think I'd be back, did you? But I came back. I came back with a vengeance for my second episode of my podcast, Going Goff Script. I am here today with another wonderful voice actor, Steven Reatherford. Call him Steve. Are you okay with that?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Hello there. For people that are not familiar with the name I just used, some of you might recognize me as Hyper Voice Acting on YouTube and a couple of other socials. What'd you say? Most people might recognize me from stuff like I'm a actor and director for Adrenaline Dubs. I also am the co-creator of an original fantasy series called Tales of Annualia, which at the time of recording, the newest episode of that's going to be coming out pretty soon. And yeah, I am very honored and amused that Michelle wants me to be in her podcast.
Oh, don't worry. You'll be one of the best people. I always pick the best people first.
If I fit your quality of best, no, I shouldn't do that. I'm trying to be better about self-deprecation.
No, that's the one thing to remember about being a voice actor. You back each other up no matter what. It's not a rivalry.
Yeah.
It's not a rivalry. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
All right. So you've basically answered the first question. You've explained who you are and what you do. So yeah, well done. Brilliant. So I suppose the other big question is, what made you want to do voice acting?
I've always had a fascination with voice acting ever since I was a child. Like, ever since I grew up watching, like Warner Brothers or Hanna-Barbera or just whatever was on the television at the time. Like, just cartoons in general have always had, like, a vice grip on my poor autistic mind. And I've just been really fascinated with just the notion of being involved in them somehow. At first, I wanted to be involved as, like, an animator, but when I realized I just didn't have the patience to actually animate, I decided to, like, look into the voice acting half of it, which just felt like, it, compared to, like, regular acting, felt like it was a lot more loose and free, which definitely felt more appealing to me, on top of just having a lot of fun with the various type of voices that I felt like I was capable of doing.
Oh wow, yeah, I've had that same sort of feeling myself. I mean, I started out doing it as a kid as well. Like my brother and I used to record ourselves on fake radio shows, I suppose you could call it. And
Aww.
we just created voices for each other, and we just, did silly voices. We made up our own stories. We had big imaginations as children. I don't know what the hell happened, but we just did a lot of things together. And the first recording device we ever used was... You're familiar with Home Alone 2, right?
I can't say that sounds familiar to me, no.
The Macaulay Culkin movie, the second one.
Home Alone.
Home Alone. Yes, sorry, I might have said it wrong.
No, you're fine. But yes, I have seen the first two Home Alones at least. I haven't seen any of the ones afterwards. Gotta be honest, I keep forgetting that they made more after the third film.
They made like 4 or 5 more, I think. It's very strange why they kept going.
Yeah.
I mean, there is one, I always remember the title as The Holiday Heist, which I remember John Tron once called the chef's kiss of the Home Alone franchise.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, he's kidding.
I'm sure he is, but still.
Yeah. I think he made it obvious anyway, because he was being very silly about it. But back to Home Alone 2 anyway, in there, do you recall he had like a little made-up tape recording toy that he used to fake his voice on?
I believe so, yes. So like he was using it to, like, it was either to get one over on the Sticky Finger Bandits or of the hotel staff itself. He was using that to, like, trick him into thinking he was like a gangster.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, he always used that. Now, the weird thing is that was a toy that didn't actually exist. They made it up for the movie, and they ended up turning it into a real toy after the movie was released.
Oh.
And my brother got one as a Christmas gift, because he loved the idea of using one, so my mum got him one as a Christmas gift, and both of us wore the poor thing to death. We just did endless voice chatter on it all the time.
Yeah, that's neat. Funny enough, like in spite of my like fascination with voice work, I don't think I've ever really tampered with stuff like that before growing up. Or if I did, I'd forgotten about. Like a lot of my voice stuff that I usually do has been like mostly natural outside of like small things, like audio cleanup or whatnot.
Hmm. Oh wow. Trying to think what my other thing was I was going to bring up. When you do voice acting, what you say is the most challenging thing that you the most I'm trying to word it correctly. Sort of
It's okay.
like the most challenging sort of thing that you felt you've ever had to do as a voice actor. Like, if, for example, what particular voice was challenging, or a kind of character that you did that you felt you didn't feel too much of a strong connection with, and you found it a bit more difficult to get into.
Well, you know what? It's very funny you bring that up because I actually did do a. There's a story to this. I actually recorded myself saying the story. I plan on uploading it as a video on my channel. I just keep putting it off. But there was one performance that perfectly describes what you're talking about. That this was like very early on into when I started to seriously consider voice acting as a career. Like I think 13 to 15 years ago. Like, let me put it to you this way. The Voice Acting Alliance forums were still very active at the time, just to give you an idea of how long ago this was.
Mm.
So there was an actor, well, not an actor, a director that was wanting to do a redub of the Street Fighter Cross Tekken game, which, at the time that was the most recent Street Fighter game, and he wanted me to provide the voice of Vega. And the thing about that is, for people that have played the games, you might recognize that, during normal conversation and whatnot, Vega, he has this very, very smooth, sensual his voice,
Mm.
because he's just that kind of character. But whenever his in battle cries are very like high pitched, squealish, almost kind of like, stuff like that.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah. So like the regular dialogue I was doing fine with, but he was very particular. He was very much a perfectionist about this kind of thing. He wanted me to try to replicate those like shrill screams like beat for beat exactly like the original actor did. And I think I sent him like 5 maybe 7 attempts at doing those shrills, and each one he was never satisfied, like even to the point where he tried to like direct me in a call doing it. It got to a point where I just was straight up like, dude, this is not going to work. I am physically incapable of doing this. Please get someone else to voice Vega for you. And on top of being a perfectionist, he was also kind of stubborn and did not want to recast me, insisted I still do the part. And so after a couple more tries, it finally got to a point where they weren't spot on, but I guess they were close enough to where he was willing to take it. And he
Mm.
said, "Okay, cool. Well, thank you for doing this for me. I'll be sure to get back to you whenever the video is up." And considering the last time I got in touch with him was those 13 to 15 years ago, and I have not heard from him since, I get the sneaking suspicion that that project might have been canceled, and I almost ricked my entire voice for nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing. When they ask you to do shrill voices, or say go higher than your normal range, it's like, because I'm not a high voice person, as you can tell, but I can do kind of high, but I can't go like shrill high or squeaky high, because it does hurt the longer you do it.
Right.
And especially, I mean, the deeper the voice you've got, it's harder to do. And they do always tell you, you've got to look after your instrument, which is your voice.
Right.
And shrillness does damage you. I mean,
Hmm.
I've heard the voice. I can't remember his name. I would like him on at some point though. He currently voices Jeff the Shark in Marvel Rivals.
Oh, John Bailey.
That's him. That's him. I'm not good with names, so I apologize, John.
No worries.
um. So if John ever hears it, but basically, the way he voices that character, I remember I was hearing him before he started mimicking the other characters' like special moves in Jeff's voice, and
Hmm.
then I heard his normal speaking voice, and I was like, I mean, that takes some talent to sound like that, to sound like a creature and sound like you're speaking at the same time.
Absolutely.
But it's got to be painful after a while.
Yeah.
Because it does sound like it would be a struggle after a bit. Like I've got to have a throat mint to settle my voice down after a session doing that. I mean,
Yeah.
the sessions he's probably had to do as that character could have been like 2-3 hour sessions maybe when he first started doing him. I thought, woof, that'd be enough to really cancel his voice out for a week maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even just yesterday I tried doing Shrill and I listened back to it and I thought, no, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. Like, thankfully, ever since that incident with Vega, I've never really had any instances where I was asked to like voice particularly shrill characters, or if they were like the type of shrill that was a little bit closer to my vocal range to where I could do them a little bit more comfortably. No, the voice problem that I have a little bit more struggle with is whenever I have to do like the more bassy baritone voices. Like I mentioned Adrenaline Dubs earlier. I voiced Zavok for them, and I can never be convinced that I can do a good Zavok despite everyone praising it to heaven and back, because I feel like the problem that I have with a character like Zavok is, hitting that deep, bassy pitch, I can do just fine. It's maintaining it throughout dialogue without, like, cracks seeping in, like, kind of disrupting the masculinity, for lack of a more appropriate word. That's the kind of struggle that I usually have with those type of roles.
Mm. It's like, I can go deep, but not that deep.
Yeah.
There's definitely, I mean, everybody's different, but you've all got your limits on how high and how low you can go. That's why they call it range. That's why they ask you to check your range.
Mm-hmm.
It's always better to be sure, because you can damage yourself and maybe not realise you've damaged yourself.
Yeah, I usually try my best to be very careful about that. Like, the whole thing with Vega was probably like the closest thing to where I was experiencing like physical pain when it comes to recording a role. Every other instance, actually, I take that back. There have been like a few times where I voice Eggman where I realized I probably put a little bit too much into my yells, but thankfully it's never been to a point where it causes like permanent damage. Like, I've always been able to like recover fairly well afterwards.
Absolutely. Um, Speaking of having a very picky person to do auditions for and that, when you've gone looking for auditions, what do you find is the biggest red flag?
Let me see. Well, I don't know if I can give you a definitive answer because I feel like everyone's tastes in this kind of thing is different than the other. I guess one thing that always makes it a little bit wary for me to audition is when I feel like they don't supply enough
Mm,
information about a project. Like, if I'm going for a particular character, like something that I usually like to ask whenever I audition for a character is, like a good idea of what the character is like, how they'll be portrayed, like what kind of voice they would use as like a template, so I'll know like where to go for like an idea of how they interact with other characters, stuff like that. I feel like I'm the most comfortable auditioning for a character if I have all of that information on hand. And I've had a few instances where people would approach me and they wouldn't give me all of that information, which is excuse me, which is why I've always been a little wary of like accepting people that come to me for roles like that.
mm. I've had the odd DM where somebody's said to me, "Oh, I've got this project in mind, and I really like your character reel. There's a character I think you'd be really good at," and I was like, "Oh, what character's that?" And he said, "Oh, they're this one," and they put a picture of it, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, you've got something going. Okay, so what's it about?" And they said, "Oh, it's basically this and this," and I was like, "All right, so can you maybe describe it a bit more? Have you got you got what's called a show bible going on, or like a presentation about it or anything? Maybe you could let me know how long the project is going to be, or what I'm required to do, anything like that, anything about the glossary about the characters, anything at all." And they said, "I don't know what that is." I went,
Whoops.
and then I went, yeah, this isn't going to work. I'm sorry. if you,
Yeah.
you and I just said to him, the best thing I can give you going away from this is you might need to plan a little better before you go asking people to help you, because if you don't have a start to your project and you don't even know how to explain it to me, how am I to trust you with utilizing my voice for your project when I don't even know what you're going to use it for?
Yeah.
Especially with the big AI threat out there, I want to be very careful.
Yeah, that is also true. That is something that I feel I feel like that's definitely made people a lot more like cautious when it comes to like getting roles nowadays.
Mm. We all have to make sure. A lot of the time, you ask now, do you have a waiver to say that my voice will not be used for AI because I will feel better if you do? And a lot of them will say, yeah, we do, we're going to send it to you. And then you'll
Hmm.
read it through. Now, one thing I always remember is if I've had NDAs before, I always have a close look at them now to look out if there's anything in there that states your voice will not be used for AI. I always check now
Right.
because I don't trust by somebody's word. I mean, whether they make a good project or not, it doesn't matter to me. If they don't give me confirmation that my voice is going to be protected, then I really don't know if I can trust them. So I always make sure it's on there. And if it's not on there, that raises a red flag for me. And then I ask them about it. And then they go,
Right.
oh, yeah, sorry, we forgot to mention we do actually have an AI waiver for you to sign. And I was like, oh, all right, well, can you show me that? They show me it, and I'm like, all right, I read that, seems fine. And then I'm fine. But if they have nothing on there, I'm just saying, like, yeah, sorry, I don't exactly trust that you won't use it. Then they go, oh, no, no, I promise you it won't happen. I was like, how do I know that, though? Because you've got nothing to guarantee a protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so painful to say I don't want to do a job when you've been offered it because they're so hard to get. But sometimes you have to say no, especially if you know something's at risk or if you know it's not going to do you any good in the long run.
Right.
I mean, I really wish right now. One thing I hate at the moment is having to check everything to make sure there is no AI. Even when you look at people's art, you think, is this AI? Look at a photo, is this AI? And it's like,
Mm,
somebody's written a script. Was it written by a machine? I need to check if there's any words modelled up in here. So it's like, I don't want to check. I just want to enjoy things.
yeah, man, just it is still fascinating to me that the AI bubble has not, as of yet, popped. Considering how it's very clear that AI is not, for all the inherent threat that AI is presenting creatives, it's clear it's not necessarily stable anymore in terms of people's trust in it or whatnot. Like I'm starting to wonder what it's going to take for people to finally get it through their thick heads. Is like, maybe we should stop using this.
Mm. It'll get through eventually because something will go horribly wrong that could ruin a company. And then they'll say, nobody used this, you'll get destroyed like we did. Don't even try. And then they sit there with nothing but regret for the rest of their lives that their country was destroyed because they trusted a machine. I mean, I think that's going to be Amazon, honestly, because
Yeah,
they're already getting rid of people for machines. Then again, they did. Then again, I heard they did treat the people like machines. So
yeah. Just
what's the biggest difference? But at the end of the day, treat your people better, and they might not leave. You know.
that would be nice. I mean, like I have a friend of mine. Her name's Celie. We're really good friends. She's practically like a sister to me. She recently left Amazon because, well, not even left. She got laid off of Amazon, but like they did not treat her at all well, from what she's told me of it.
I had a friend who used to work at Amazon a long time ago, and I remember her telling me that they wanted her to do a 13, 14 hour shift all day, and they were absolutely busy apparently, and they had to like really rush things out. And
Oh,
something about them being behind on deliveries or something, and they really wanted everybody in the delivery storerooms to really rush these things out and get all these packages out. And they just, whenever you, apparently she said, when you stopped for even a second, they'd bark at you and say, "What the hell are you doing? Get on with stuff." Or they'd say, "Cool, can I go to the bathroom? I'm really desperate." No, you can't. You've got work to do. It's like, well, it goes against my human rights to relieve myself because it's written in every single job description. I don't care. We're behind. Hold it in. It's like, what, for 13 hours? For 13 hours? I'm sorry, you're going to make my bladder explode.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no. Never work at Amazon. Long lesson. What was... here we go. One thing I like to ask, any voice
Mhm.
actors who really inspired you to go for it?
Well, out of the ones that I've been listening to, pretty much any actor that has ever really worked with like Disney or Warner Brothers is automatically on there. Like Jim Cummings has definitely been like a big influence for me,
Mm,
like in terms of my vocal range. That I've had a couple of people note that some of my voices do sound similar to some of the voices that he's done. Let me see. Mel Blanc, I think, is also a fairly obvious one considering he's like one of the bigger granddaddies of voice acting. Um, yeah, honestly, there's like just a lot of actors that either have inspired me to pursue the craft, like Mel and Jim, or ones that I feel like have had like a very solid influence on my vocal range, like Steve Bloom. And I've just, yeah, I don't know if I pick one singular actor as my major influence because, like, I feel like my palette is kind of cherry picked from various other actors that I've just grown up with.
yeah, I mean, I loved a lot of voice actors growing up. But I only... The weird thing about me is that I didn't know until I graduated from university that I could do this for a living. I genuinely didn't know. So uh I spent all that training, and at the end of the day I was like, "Oh, it wasn't for nothing. I can do something with it."
Yes.
Cuz I had other ideas of what I wanted to do with the media training, the performance training I had. Like, because I'd had TV training, I'd had radio training, theatre training, I'd had all that done. And I had no idea that I could just use my voice behind a microphone. And I thought, do you know what? Why do I feel more comfortable doing this? And it was doing radio that made me realise I could do that. I thought, wow,
Mm.
it's very odd, like what you do when you're much younger in your life, when you're not sure what to do, and then something just clicks and you don't even realise. It's so bizarre. For me, that was the epiphany moment. But I didn't really get started on voice acting until a long time later, like not until my early 30s when I started to try going professionally. Because,
Mm.
mind you, I didn't graduate till I was 27, but even then, I could have started something, but I didn't. But YouTube was the way to start. I was advised to just do what I felt comfortable doing for a start, and just try to be professional, and just make friends with other people who do similar things. And they said when you're getting professionally, that's the key thing to move forward. Make friends with other voice actors because you can bring each other up, you can help each other out, and everything just comes full circle at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good mentality to have, and I'd like to say I've been able to make quite a good number of friends through like the different projects and whatnot. I I sometimes try not to stick to that mentality too well because I've learned from experience. I'm not going to name any names because I don't know how they'd feel about me talking behind their back, but I can think of at least one or two actors that were not privy with the idea of like making friends with co-actors. They wanted to keep things like strictly professional, no friendship whatsoever. So
Wow.
I learned the hard way that like that kind of mentality doesn't stick with every actor that you work with, but I'm thankful that that's more the exception than the norm when it comes to any of the actors that I've worked with on other projects.
I mean, some of the best friends voice actors make are other voice actors because you get each other, you understand how tough the job is, and when they say, I mean, you could go for the same job and only one of you get it, or both of you get it, or neither of you get it, but you're still like, oh hey, it's fine, we gave it a go, it's fine. Or if
Hmm.
one of you gets it, you can go, yeah, you got it, there you go. And if you both get it, we get to work on the same job.
Yeah, and I've been noticing quite a bit of that for like the last couple of projects that I've been working on, where I would get cast as something, and then I would see when I get brought onto the project server, I would see like another person that I know that either has already been cast or has been cast like right after me, and it's like, oh no way, you're here too.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a what was happening with me? There was a project that I was on that another voice actor was on, who I didn't know personally, but I have heard them in so many things. And I realised they were voicing a character on the same project as me, and I was like, no way.
Oh.
That's incredible. Oh, well,
And you know what? I kind of have like something similar with that happen as well. When so my friend Jordan, Jordan Skarsvava, who is also the co-creator of Tales of Anualia, she recently started watching this this other audio drama that I'm a part of called The Adventures of the Fox and the Fedora. She was binging through it just because she wanted to support me because she knew I was in it, and it got to one particular episode in season 3. She was geeking out at the fact that it's like, oh, I didn't know you worked with Sean Chiplock in this. It's like, wait, you what? And then I looked at the episode they were talking about, and I say, oh, he was in this episode. How did I not remember that?
oh, nice. Do you know what funny thing? It was actually him who was in the same project as me.
Oh, well, what do you know?
It all just comes. You see what I mean, everybody? It all just comes around. It just happens. It's not as big as a it's not as big and vast as you think. You know, you can come across the same people multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
It's very surprising. But I didn't
Yeah.
but I didn't think I'd ever work on the same project with somebody, who's got a bigger name for themselves than I would.
Oh, absolutely. I felt the same way. Like, I don't know if, to my knowledge, I've ever teamed up with anyone as big as him in a separate project before, but that definitely was like the most recent example I could think of where I did have to step back and be like, oh, wait, I didn't know I worked with this guy. That's pretty awesome.
I know I've felt that because I thought sometimes maybe I should look at the cast of this if it's being released, and then I say, well, who else has been on this? And then I can look down and go like, I've never worked with them, never worked with them, never worked with them. I've worked with them, but I've never worked with them. It's just kind of recognizing the names who I've worked with or just who I recognize.
Yeah.
And then I see a name I recognize and I go, oh, hold on a second. And if they're a friend, I go, oh, okay. And then I get hold of them and I go, hey, guess what? We're on the same project.
Yeah, that I know that's another thing that happened recently with another project that I was in. It's an indie game called Jamboy. While I was playing through it, there was an officer character. I listened to it, and it's like that guy sounds very familiar. Have I heard him at something else before? Then I looked on the credits, and then I found out that officer was voiced by my friend Dante Majors, and I'm like, oh hey, cool. And then I went to Dante's DMs. It's like, oh hey, look, we're both in this game together.
Oh, it's always great when you see a friend on the same project. It's such a wonderful feeling to have, honestly.
Absolutely.
But out of a lot of the jobs that you've done so far, which one do you remember most doing that you really enjoyed?
Well, there's definitely a lot that do stick out to me as far as like let me see. I guess when it comes to like paid gigs though, I do have a bit of a soft spot for Fox and the Fedora because I felt like that was a pretty good showing of my range because like it started off I played like one minor villain during season 2, and then I was brought back onto season 3 to do like a lot more roles than I expected, which I'm very grateful Fox let me be able to do that to again give a chance to really flex my range and support his project because he puts a lot of him and his crew worked really hard on it. In
Mm.
fact, they've actually been getting like a couple of accolades as of late, and every time I see that, I'm like, dude, you guys are doing so awesome. I'm so proud of you. And he's like, thanks, but you're part of this crew too, And I'm like, I know, but just let me compliment you, you goober.
It's like it's that feeling of when they say, "Oh, you've brought the character to life," and then I say like, "Well, yeah, I did," and I said, "But I didn't make the show, so you've just brought me on board to help. Like, you've pretty much made this whole thing real." But then,
Exactly.
yeah, but they still turn around and go like, "Look, just take the compliment, will you? I wouldn't have brought you if I didn't think you were good enough for it."
I know. I guess another one that sticks to my mind. This isn't necessarily like a job. It was like one of the earliest times I ever seriously got into voice acting. There's someone. His name is Hark. He did a voice acted Let's Play of Earthbound, the old Super Nintendo game,
Mm.
and the reason that particular project really stuck to my memory was, first off, it was one of the first biggish roles that I got as someone that was like still really green into voice acting, still trying to get his feet wet in it. It was through that project that I actually met who ended up being one of my best friends, Logan, because he was voicing Ness for that, and I was voicing Pokey and a couple of other side characters. And I just the inherent irony of like in the game we voice basically enemies, but in real life we ended up being good friends, almost to the point of feeling like brothers. And so I'm always going to be grateful for being a part of that voice acted Let's Play, just because it did introduce me to someone that I consider a really good friend.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do, just as like a casual thing, I'd love to just do voice acted Let's Plays with a group of people. I mean, one of my favourite games of all time is actually Night in the Woods, and I've
Mm.
played through that a couple of times on streams myself, but I voiced all the characters because it was just me, and as fun as it was, it really wears your voice down doing everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely agree with that sentiment.
So yeah, I'd love to like come on and like just have more people just to sit in for a few sessions while we go through it and just choose which characters we want to do. Things like that, I think that'd be really fun. I mean, I'd love to do it with other games as well that need voices in there.
Hmm. And I know I've been definitely helping that out with a couple of friends that have done like their own videos like that, whether it do be like just videos in general or just like casual streams and whatnot. It's just a lot of fun being able to like just bring voices to characters like that, especially in a stream, just to hear like the live reactions of whenever I like get into a character, or sometimes when I break character as that character, is definitely the moments that they appreciate the most.
Yeah, because it's always good to hear a bit of a mess up from every now and then, because it
Hmm.
shows you just like everybody else, you're just a normal person. You mess up, you're not going to be perfect in every read you do.
Hmm. Well, I think it's like not even just a matter of like messing up, just a matter of like just sometimes throwing in a very out of left field ad lib just to get a reaction.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I used to be better at ad libs than I am at the moment. Maybe it's because I've not done them enough, but I used to be like a lot better at ad libs. Mostly mostly because I've done theatre training and I've just had to push myself into something. Because what they used to do was they'd get us in a room and they'd say, "Right, we're going to do a session on ad libbing," and I was like, "All right." So they said, "You, and you go up here. Um, this is the scenario. This is who you are. This is who you are. Go."
Hmm.
They'd just throw us in and say, "Just make it up."
Yeah, like I think a lot of the ad lib experience that I've been getting has been through those live streams, because trying to find ways to entertain on the spot has really tested me as an actor, just trying to think of like okay, what can I come up with in the moment that's sure to get a reaction out of people. And I found out that like a lot of it really does stem from making sure you have the right person to bounce off of,
Mm,
because I think a lot of my best improv really has been like maybe not entirely dependent, but definitely aided by the fact that the person that I'm ad libbing with is someone that I generally have like natural chemistry with, whether it be my friend Jordan, my friend Logan, or for another channel that I work on, Ask Mario, one of my co-actors Maxwell. We've been told that we have like very dynamic comedic chemistry together, and it is a lot of fun bouncing off lines with him and whatnot. So yeah, I think having the right person with you is definitely a good way to amplify the potential you have for ad lib.
oh, definitely. I mean, if you've got that, especially like you said, if you have that sort of relationship, it makes it a lot easier.
Hmm.
But was there any character you've played so far that you've felt, do you know what? I'm glad I never get to play this character anymore. I really didn't like it.
Well, I mean, to an extent, I brought it up before with Zavok, in a sense of like I just don't. It's not that I don't. I'm trying to think of how it is. Like I feel like I'm never a good fit for the character, despite the fact that everyone that I talk to is in love with it. It's gone to a point where it's like, do people really like this performance? It's like I mean, I'll voice him if you need him, but I feel like you should be asking someone more capable for this character than I am.
It's because I think part of that at the same time is because Zavok already has a voice actor. I think what can be a bit tricky is because I've voiced characters who have voices already, but what I try to do sometimes is while hearing how they officially sound, I didn't want to like put myself in a position where I'm doing an impression. I thought make the voice sound as similar as I can make it, but because it's my voice and not theirs, maybe my own interpretation of that sort of idea.
Right. I mean, like, that seems to be a sentiment that I think is starting to get a little bit more, prevalent when it comes to, like, fan voices. I'll just use that as a blanket term. When it comes to, like, fan voices nowadays, that seems to be, like, a very prevalent thing people try to do. Like, people nowadays are definitely focusing less on being, like, a note for note spot on impression. I mean, you'll still get those every now and then, but I think people are starting to put a lot more value into the notion of, like, it doesn't have to sound exactly like the character as long as you have a voice that really embodies the spirit of the character, which is, I think, a big reason as to why. Excuse me. Which is why a big reason as to why I think a lot of people tend to really enjoy my take on Dr. Eggman for like a lot of the Sonic fan stuff that I've done, where it's like, I take a couple of mannerisms from like certain actors, but I'm not like a note for note sound alike to like Mike Pollock or Dean Bristow or whatnot. I'm not trying to be a one to one sound alike. I'm trying to do my own take on the character that takes a couple of elements from previous actors, but for the most part, really try to make it my own. And I think that is a big part of why people really like performances like that. And I am glad that that is a notion that has been becoming more and more accepted when it comes to like voicing roles like this. Because I know, depending on the character, there seems to be like this very um, I guess insistence. I don't know if there's a more accurate word for it, but a lot of people have this heavy insistence that certain characters, you're only good if you sound like this specific actor that has voiced the character. Like, say, for example, with Joker, people will not pay much attention to your Joker if you don't sound exactly like Mark Hamill or exactly like Heath Ledger or so on and so forth. And I'm so glad that we're starting to like break away from that type of mentality because it opens the opportunity for other takes that again might not sound exactly like a previous take but are still very much embodying the spirit of the character and are enjoyable in their own right, like say John DiMaggio as the Joker. Like, he does not sound anything like any previous Joker beforehand, but he is still a stellar performance because he still embodies a lot of what makes the Joker as a character very endearing and charming.
I mean, it's like do you remember a Batman series called The Batman?
Oh yeah, the Batman. I love that one, and Kevin Michael Richardson I think is another good example of that type of like mentality with the Joker. That again, starkly different from other Jokers,
Yeah.
but he is still one of the most fun, honestly, kind of infectious takes on the Joker that I've seen. Like, he just knocks it out of the park with his performance.
Yeah, because I was going to bring that up as well. Because it's like not only does he sound sort of different, but he looks different. He behaves a bit differently, and it's like wow, I've never seen the character be this way. It's such a different take on it.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be like the big thing when it comes to like the Batman that I know back in the day alienated a lot of people, but I feel like people have grown a stronger appreciation of it nowadays. The fact that like it does actively challenge, the preconceptions that people would have for what is a Batman show or how these characters would act. Like, the Batman really does challenge that in a lot of ways with its version of Joker, with its version of a lot of the Batman characters, actually, to a point where it's like Batman himself is probably like the most unchanged character of the entire show. But just the fact that, like, again, that we are getting a lot more bold and a lot less rigid about, oh, we don't have to sound exactly like a certain performance. We could just do our own thing, and hopefully people will still enjoy it in spite of it just being its own thing.
Mm. It's like what was that other Batman show? It's one that's currently on Prime.
Oh, Cape Crusader?
Cape Crusader. Yeah, their take on Harley Quinn was outstandingly different. It was really
Oh,
really
absolutely.
unexpected. But
Hmm.
and it was kind of a mixed bag for most people on that sense because they all know how Harley Quinn has always been and things like that, and then they see this other side to her, like she's more sinister, she's darker, she's more threatening, and you got the half that appreciate the different take on a character. But the other half who are just completely unsatisfied. And I think at the end of the day, you're always going to get a side that thinks, no, I want it to be the same because that's what I like. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
If you want it to stay the same, watch a show or read the comics because she stays the same in that.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like what I do kind of appreciate about the Cape Crusader version of Harley. Now, I have not seen it. I don't own Prime. I just mostly go off of, like, other people's opinions and the clips I've seen of it. That version of Harley for me is kind of like a nice, refreshing change of pace because I don't know if this is going to be seen as like a super hot take for a lot of like comic fans. I feel like that there is kind of a the Harley Quinn oversaturation. Like I feel like they're starting to put her on like too high of a pedestal compared to other characters. Like they're really trying to push her as like one of DC's big major characters. And like it's kind of getting to a point where somewhere in that transition, I feel like a lot of the charm that I personally liked out of the character kind of got lost in that transition of trying to make her like a more mainstream icon. And so I see this version of her from Cape Crusader. It's like, okay, I appreciate, even though I'm kind of sick of seeing Harley all over the place nowadays, I like this version because it's at least doing something different with her.
Mm. And they even said whether there'll be a second series or not. They said we haven't seen the Joker yet, so that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is some. Actually, I should probably keep that to myself because I don't know if you want that spoiled or not.
Well, I'm fine with it not being spoiled. I'm just thinking of everyone else listening. But no, if you haven't seen Cape Crusader and you don't want to be spoiled, I won't say anything. So give it a watch or don't. But it's up to you.
Hmm.
This is not sponsored by Prime in any way. I'm just saying. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
Let's see. One I was thinking of just now was certain characters that you get given, and they say, "Oh, they don't have a voice, but this is kind of the voice I have in mind." What? Actually, do you know what? Is a better question.
Hmm.
If you get given a character, they don't have a voice in mind. They've got no sort of idea as to how they could sound, and they don't give any direction towards it, no accent, anything like that. And they just show you a picture or even just a description. And they say to
Hmm.
you, you do the audition normally, and whatever voice you do will determine whether they like it or not. What makes you think, looking at the voice, looking at the character's face, or looking at a description of them, makes you decide on what voice is best to use for that?
This is actually a question with a very amusing sense of timing, Michelle, because I actually have been doing a on Blue Sky. There's this prompt that's been going around talking about how like, oh, you put in an OC in the replies, and I'll make up a voice from. I did a round of that, like I think 1 or 2 years ago, and I just decided to do like a second round of that just recently. So I've actually been having quite a bit of experience with the notion of like trying to put a voice to a character that technically doesn't have a voice. And some of them will be a bit more like detailed about what they want. Like, they'll give like a little personality blurb. They'll give an idea of like how their head canon voices for that. But for the most part, they'll let me leave it up to chance. Honestly, it's kind of a very fun experiment trying to like take those bits of context and formulate it to how you think a character should sound. Because there's definitely a lot of characters that I feel like have been very fun to like take creative liberties on, or to figure out, okay, how do I get my voice to fit this particular mold that they have for this particular character? And so far, the results have been pretty good. Like every person that I've done the prompt for have been liking the voices that I've done so far.
Hmm.
In fact, funny enough, at least one or two of them have led to me actually being cast as that character in projects that are currently in the works. So
Oh,
that's
damn.
so that's an amazing bit of thing. So yeah, that honestly, those are the kind of experiments that I really enjoy, that I really would like to do more of, just for the sake of like really like testing my both my creativity and flexibility when it comes to like forging a voice for a character.
Oh, now that you mention it, I did do something like that for my YouTube channel a few years back. Said send me little pictures of your OCs and I'll do a video of me doing voices for them. And I got a fair few, and I did that, but I never thought of doing it again since then for some reason. But maybe it's something I could just pick up on, maybe just to say, hey, give me a bit of practice. Show me your characters, and I'll say, do you not have a voice for 'em? Well, let me try one for you.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's also dependent on like I was able to do it because I'm kind of in between certain jobs at the moment, so I had the free time to really do something like that. It was also, I guess it's also dependent on if you think you have the free time to do something like that.
Yes, that's the thing, because like for as of late and past few months or so, because stuff's been picking up and that, so I've not really had as much time to just do what I feel like I want to do in my own time.
Hmm.
Only when I could. But even when it was like projects like that, it's like I need to keep up with this. I need to write these down. I need to think of this. And I thought, well, I'm also doing that for a couple of other things. So maybe not right now. Maybe now's not the right time.
And
But
that's fine. You don't have to.
no, I'd love to do it at some point. I just need to kind of look into it and think, now could be a right time. Maybe a while later. I'll see how things are going. You know, it's that sort of thought process that goes on with me. I think
Right.
part of it is my anxiety as well, because that's the idea of would anybody even want me
Mm.
to voice a character for them?
Well, that's it. Well, I can reassure you right now. Because I have had experience voicing with you before. To give people context, I have actually voiced with Michelle in a project for my friend Slickframe. He's the guy that runs the aforementioned Ask Mario series that I mentioned a while ago. He did a full dub of a Mario fan comic called Meet the Marios that shows, Mario's parents visiting the Mushroom Kingdom and whatnot, and you even get to see, Daisy's parents and how they interact with Luigi and whatnot. Michelle here was actually the voice of Queen Lillian, Daisy's mother, in that comic.
I was. It was quite a while ago now, but I did enjoy that. I like
Hmm.
playing the sort of characters with that sort of bit of poshness, bit of stature in the voice, feeling like
Hmm.
that sort of audio that says I'm above you. So I like that authoritative manner. It's just because of the way I get most of the time with the anxiety and that. It's like, do you know what? I don't need to be anxious here. I'm just gonna say, do you know what? I'm above you. I can do whatever I want. It's that sort of authority, the forbidden authority I call it.
Mm.
The way I would never speak to people, I can just let that go here.
Yeah.
It's like I've played evil characters before as well. I've played characters who were devious or who were very sort of, up to themselves better than them without sounding authoritative. Just like, yeah, okay, let's just do what I'm gonna do, yeah, because you're kind of boring me. It's that sort of character idea.
It's like I see your point. Counter argument. Shut up, knave.
Yeah, yeah, that sort of thing. Sort of like a Joffrey from Game of Thrones, the character that everybody hates.
Mm. I'll take your word on that because I have not watched Game of Thrones, and from what I've gauged, I'm probably not missing out too much from that.
Not a ton, no, but especially when the final season, because that didn't do very well.
Yeah, I have heard infamous things about the final season. I don't know what specifically happened, but I know that it is infamously dumb.
They do say though the current spin-off show that's on it's called The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's done really well,
That's good.
and that's supposed to be. It's in the same universe, but it's set like I think it's said 1,000 years before the Game of Thrones events.
Hmm.
So it's yep. So it's all up to anyone's interpretation, really. If you think it's worth a watch, but from what people have said, they said it really is. It really outshines it.
Well, that's good to hear.
What was the other question I was going to ask? I have it all written here, but I always ask myself, what am I going to ask? But it's like I forget to read sometimes.
Uh,
Oh,
what are these funny little words on my paper?
Scribbly line. I don't know. I don't know what it says. It's scribbly line.
Bunch of chicken scratch. I didn't even know I had a chicken.
Oh dear, I've not heard that one. Yeah, there we go. I finally, my brain's clicked on now. Is there a voice that you've done that you identified with fully, that you really engaged with?
Ooh, that is very interesting because for me it's an instance of like I can think of for me when it comes to like voices like that there's like two that click to mind, voices that I really enjoy doing and would love to do more of, and there's voices that I feel like kind of hit close to me because the character in question kind of hits really close to me. The voices that I think of that really hit the former are characters like Big the Cat, or to go back to Fox and the Fedora, Sergeant Wilco, um, who's this very jolly Russian agent, but maybe not an agent. And do we have an agency? I'd have to go back to Glue Stick and double check on that. Basically, voices that I have a lot of fun doing that I wish I had more opportunities to do because there's just something about it. It just feels really liberating in the sense of like, oh, I'm actually having a ball voicing this. Man, I'd love to do this kind of voice again. But sometimes I get to, sometimes not. But yeah, and then there's the voices of characters that do mean a lot to me, and by proxy, their voices also mean a lot to me. One of them, going back a bit, was with Luigi from Meet Some Marios. Meet Some Marios is probably, out of all the fan projects that I've done, probably my favorite, or at least one of my favorites, just because of the vocal range I get to stretch as Luigi and how much a lot of the dialogue he does kind of hits home for me. Definitely is a performance, and Luigi as a character just really resonates with me a lot. Similar thing with like Silver, with like certain fan projects I've done. I don't get asked to voice Silver a lot, but I just really love him as a character, and I love doing the type of voice that he does. As far as like original characters go in that regard, I think one original character that I know I'm very passionate about, largely just because of the significance of, his creation and who created him, is Hector Scarborough, who is from Tales of Annualia, the audio drama I mentioned. He is probably he was created by my friend Jordan, again, who co-created the series. Hector means a lot to her as a character and as a creation, and the fact that she trusts me to voice a character that near and dear to her heart really does like kind of resonate with me in a sense. The fact that like I'm voicing a character that means so much to my best friend, I'm gonna do my best to make sure I do not let her or the character down.
Oh, I mean, it that feeling of you trust me enough to, be the voice of something you adore more than anything right now, and you trust me with it, and you just feel like, oh, you're such a sweetie for letting me do this and trusting me so much.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I've yet to feel that, but I feel like I will one day, and
Well, that,
I'd be very proud to do so.
well, I hope you do. I feel like every actor deserves to have at least that one role like that in their career.
Yeah, definitely. Well, is there any character that you've not voiced that you really like that you would love to voice in the future?
Let me see. Well, as far as like characters that I want to voice, I mean, I'm not gonna this one I'm not gonna count to like original characters because I feel like a lot of that just boils down to the fact that I need to remind myself I need to audition more often because that's something I keep forgetting about. I need to go audition for things more often. As far as like pre-existing characters go, one character that I would love to voice but have not gotten like a proper chance to because it feels like any project tied to this book is just kind of due on arrival, unfortunately, is have you ever heard of a graphic novel called Bone?
Uh, yeah, I think I do know what that is actually. Yeah.
Yeah, for people that don't know, I highly suggest you read it. Jeff Smith's Bone. It is my favorite graphic novel of all time. Just absolutely sublime. There is a character in it known as Phony Bone, who is he was part of this trio of cousins that are like some of the main characters of the series. Phony Bone is a money grubbing weasel of a character. He's kind of like the best way I could describe Bone is, imagine if you put three of the Looney Tunes into Lord of the Rings. Like, I think that's the best way I could describe Bone. And Phony Bone is very much like Daffy Duck in that regard. And because Daffy is just one of my favorite Looney Tunes, that means Phony resonates with me to a degree. And I've always wanted to voice a character like Phony. And me and my friend Allie, we've tried our best to try to get a voiceover project of Bone off the ground for years, but it's been held down by a number of things. First off, and I don't mean this as like a massive detriment to Bone, more so like a forewarning for anyone that tries to get into the series. Bone is a long book. Like, I think combined is like over 1,000 pages.
Wow.
So yeah, very daunting to like put together. And not only that, like it was a combination of that and Allie being consumed with like her own original stuff that she's working on, as well as job stuff. That project ended up never getting lifted off the ground. And I would love for there to be a chance, if anyone ever decides to do like some kind of project involving Bone, if they had auditions and Phony Bone was in that list of characters to audition for, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Oh, damn. Let's hope somebody does it, you never know.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Bone because as far as like official adaptations go, Jeff Smith has had like absolutely no luck because he's been trying to get like a proper adaptation of that started since I want to say like the late 90s. I might be wrong, but every opportunity he gets to get like an adaptation of it, whether it be like a trilogy, whether it be like a series of movies that he was going to do with Warner Brothers, or more infamously when he was going to team up with Netflix to make an animated adaptation of it. Every time he gets a chance to get adapted, something goes wrong and the project gets canceled, to the point where he made like a little vent comic about the constant string of failures getting it adapted. He compared that constant string of failures, he compared it to like the running gag of like the Peanuts, where every time Charlie Brown tries to kick the football but Lucy yanks it out from under him at the last second. And like, I feel really bad for Jeff Smith, and I'm very very split because I want to be involved in an adaptation about that story to do it justice because I just love the story that much. At the same time, though, I also don't want to. If this ends up being like a consistent thing of bad luck, I also don't want to be involved in like the next failed attempt at getting it adapted.
Yeah, it's not all bad to try and help because at the end of the day, you've still had him notice you and say, "Hey, I think you'd be good enough to voice one of my characters." That'd be an amazing feeling, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if it goes so far as to me actually talking with Jeff Smith. Like, I'd be content with even just doing like a fan dub of Bone at some point, if anyone's ever bold enough to adapt the entire thing. Because again, reminder, long book. But if ever presented the chance, I would love to voice Phony.
Oh yeah, it's that's like I say, you never know. It could happen one day.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, it could happen. But
Yeah.
fingers crossed for you though. Okay, we've gonna start winding down in a moment. But before we do, let's just get the common question, which
Mm-hmm.
is people who want to get into voice acting. What would your advice be to them?
I would say do not be afraid. Um, be willing to take criticism. Trust your gut. Trust your inner talent. Just go out and find things to audition for. Don't let your self doubt or anything pull you back from just going out and giving it your all. And yeah, I can't think of like anything I would say. Like, I don't know if what I'm saying is like anything new compared to other people. I imagine a lot of people probably give out the same type of advice, but that's really the best I could suggest, is to just, trust in yourself, put yourself out there, look for projects, and just don't be afraid if people are like, I have some notes. Like, do not be afraid because those notes will help you improve.
Absolutely. I mean, I will say, everyone's answer to that question has been different from what I've heard so far. and even from
Oh,
other people who I've gotten advice from in the past when I was starting out. They no two answers are the same in that regard from in my experience, so I really wouldn't worry about sounding the same.
okay. Well, it's not necessarily that I'm worried about sounding the same. More so, just there's a part of me that's like wondering, has anyone said this before?
I'd say the advice can be similar, but it can be interpreted or said a different way, kind of deal, is what I mean.
Right, I get you.
But, yeah, because I'd give out a similar set of advice as well, but I'd also say that, start out small, like, do your own projects to practice, like, do comic dubs on YouTube. That's kind of how I did it, and it's helped.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be the only other change I'd say really mostly.
Hmm.
Say because you get your practice in there, you get to learn the sound of your own voice, and it really helps in the long run.
Hmm. And it also helps that like for some of those like smaller projects, again, like I mentioned, it's also a good way of like building a crowd around you to help you like be befriending other actors and whatnot, because that added support will definitely help you out in the long run.
Oh yes, absolutely. Um, so before we end off, for you as a person, when you're not doing voice acting, what do you do in your day to day?
Well, let me see. Well, in addition to doing voice work, I am also a character artist. Whenever I get the chance, I usually do like character art commissions for people that need it, whether it be, just standard draw me something, or sometimes I would like draw art assets for something. Like just recently, I've been drawing like some portraits for like a visual novel someone's working on. Um, I'd say the my work on Ask Mario is like probably the most prevalent of my voice acting commission work, because I do like character emotes for like a good number of the cast. So that's definitely been helping me keep busy as far as art stuff goes. Um, but yeah, like outside of like voice work and artwork, I've also been trying to get back into doing more writing stuff. Like Tales of Animalia is another outlet for that, but also trying to get back into I've been practicing with like fan stories. Like I guess fan fiction is probably the word I would use, but just trying to hone in my writing skills. Mostly because I want to also try to release an original project, like original of my own volition. And I do have a script almost done with it. I'm just kind of stuck on finishing a particular scene. I'm a little brain blocked on how I'm going to finish this particular scene, but I definitely want to try to get back into doing more original writing on top of my other jobs and whatnot.
Oh, that's sorry. I'm kind of I just never know what to say when people tell me about themselves. I just go but it makes me sound uninterested.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm sure you're perfectly interested. At least I hope you're perfectly interested.
No, I am absolutely. It's just what
Okay, good.
it's just that I can tend to get a little bit unsure about how I want to react to that. Like I want to react as a way, I'm interested, but at the same time not overdo it and go like, because it's like, well, and that just sounds like I'm fake listening. And I don't want to do
I don't
that.
think you. I don't think you really have to worry about that, because I think like as long as you're being genuine, I don't think you should worry about how you respond to something. Unless you're afraid of it being rude.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do fall silent as a response, and it's like, no, I don't want to just not say anything.
I kind of hear that myself. Sometimes, like, it's especially prevalent with me whenever I'm in like a big group of people. It'll get to a point where like I want to say something, but it'll either be interrupted or I just kind of like clam up.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I don't say much in a group of people because I'm not brilliant with it, but I do try. But when I want to say something, somebody else is talking, and I might say, "Oh no, it's fine. You talk. It's not what I say isn't important." And it's like
Mm,
I kind of make myself feel left out sometimes, I guess, but
yeah,
maybe without realizing it.
yeah. I know that's a pretty bad habit to break. I know it's a habit I'm still trying to break myself, but I'm sure you can be able to break it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a lot better than I was a few years back, but I'm still pushing
That's
forward.
good.
I'm still
Well,
pushing forward.
yeah, you just keep pushing forward and just keep doing your best. At the end of the day, all anyone could ever ask for is your best.
Yeah, definitely. And you lot listening, that means you as well. Don't forget that. means a
You better
lot.
not forget.
No, don't forget it because we'll come after you if you do. We'll
I
remind
know
you.
where you
Oh my god, that meme.
live.
Oh wow. I mean, that's something I've always wondered. Where do memes even start? How do they happen?
Well, that's the fun part. I don't think they even start, or at least intend to start. Just someone just finds it funny and just spreads it around. Like I would not. I'm curious as to like whoever originates like a meme, how they react to something like this. Like I imagine, like I think a good example would be like the late Long John Baldry. I've often wondered if he was still alive and with us today, how he feels about his version of Eggman being like the meme lore that it is now.
Oh, I feel like. I mean, I'm not sure what year he died, and I think he died before YouTube happened, maybe, or was it after? I don't know. But I feel like wherever he is now, I'm sure he knows about it and thinks, "Oh, what are these people doing?"
It's like, I wouldn't say any of this. I'm flattered, but why would I say penis?
What the hell is a pingus? Oh, do you know what? The days of YouTube like that, I miss those really a lot.
Yeah.
I really
I
do.
mean, they're still around. You just gotta know where to look.
Mm. When you had more freedom to put what you want up without somebody saying, no, you can't do that. I was like, ugh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right. Well, it's honestly been a pleasure talking to you today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me be a part of this. It has been like I can't remember the last time I've ever really been involved in a podcast like this. There was a part of me that was wondering how well I would do, but I'd like to think it went very well. And yeah, like I said, thank you again for letting me be a part of this. You are very delightful to talk to.
Oh, thank you. So are you.
No, thank you.
Don't let anyone tell you different. I'll look for
Uh,
you.
don't worry. The only person that tells me otherwise is myself, and I'm trying to get myself to stop that.
Yeah. I've got the same issue. I think most of us do, but you know. But no, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks so much for stopping by, and everybody else. Thanks for joining today, and I will see you all on the next one. Who we're gonna get? Dunno. Let's find out together, shall we? Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.